Gather round the campfire, kiddies. It's story time. I don't know why I sound like a pedophile. That's not good. Anyway, it is Wednesday, so it is another story time. What to talk about this week? I could talk about my very short stint at a large retail company called Ball Fart. For all intents and purposes, between us and here on the internet, their name is Ball Fart because I don't want to get sued. Oh wait, no, I did say I was going to tell you guys eventually why I don't drink. Yeah, let's do that this week. Okay. So, nothing against anyone who does drink. I'm not shitting on your parade or anything. I personally don't drink. And I know it's not like a rare thing, a lot of people don't drink. And everyone has their reasons. This is mine. My father. I know what some of you are thinking right now. Oh, here we go. Hear me out first. My father, who I am named after, sadly, is a piece of shit, and is not worth the very air that he breathes. He did not have the common decency to show up at my own mother's funeral, so I could care less if the man fucking dropped dead at this very second. Old man, if you hear this, I hope you die. And I'm being serious. I don't want anyone to kill him. I don't want anything... I don't want anyone to do anything to my pops. None of you know my pops. I'm not gonna give his full name out, but I just genuinely hate anything and everything about him. He was never in my life. I mean, I was there for 16 months when I was first born, and then mom left him, and almost over a day, Pops went out and got something or something, and my uncle drove up to their house, backed his truck up to the front door, and mom took all of her shit and me, put it in the back of the truck. Not me, but she left him. And the reason I don't drink is because my pops, for all intents and purposes, he can deny it only once, but he was an alcoholic. He probably still is. He's probably passed out drunk in some piss hole. I don't know. I don't care. The thing is, he was a violent drunk. The kind of drunk that when he gets drunk, he does stuff, whether he intended to do it or not, that is violent. Or he's just verbally abusive. And my mother has never lied to me other than the normal shit, like Santa Claus. And these are things that she's told me, and I have scars to prove. So, I'm inclined to believe Mom. I'm inclined to believe my grandmother. I'm inclined to believe my uncle. Because they've never lied to me outside of the usual, like Santa Claus. Alcoholism can tend to be hereditary, so to speak. So, I didn't want any of that in my life. And to gauge just on how violent of a drunk he was, one time he got so drunk. Fucking burps. He got so drunk that he got mad at Mom, and he grabbed his keys, and he threw his keys at Mom. So he thought. He ended up throwing them at me, a baby, in my, I guess it was one of those high chair bouncy thingies. It's like a thing you sit a baby in and it like bounces somewhat, but it's not quite a high chair. I don't know. Bouncy baby buggy bumper, whatever. I don't fucking know what it's called. But I was in one of those things. I have the scar to prove it on my head. He threw his keys at me, and his keys, actually, one of them lodged right into my skull. I'm not retarded or anything, and I'm not using retarded as a mean gesture towards people who are mentally handicapped. That is what they are called. They are mentally retarded. I'm not retarded or anything, but I have a scar. His keys were actually, a key was actually lodged in my skull as if he had just taken it and stabbed it straight in my head. And I have the scar to prove it. And I shave my head. When I get a haircut, I never get an actual haircut. I just shave my head. So, well, my barber just shaves my head. I never actually get a real haircut, so I see the scar often. That's the kind of drunk he was, and he was verbally abusive to Mom. I'm pretty sure he put his hands on her a couple times, but nothing too serious, because if it was serious enough, Mom would have knocked him on his ass. She was that kind of lady. But he was just a violent drunk. He was never nice. And one time in middle school, I guess this is going to be a double story time. One time in middle school, I was just messing with this one kid. He was a friend of mine. And I was just like playing keep away with his hoodie. And I guess he snapped about he just snapped about it, and he punched me square in my chest, like right on my heart, as hard as he could. Which you can stop somebody's heart if you do it hard enough. And this is me sober. This was middle school. And I've never touched alcohol, but this was middle school, okay? I was sober. And I know some people get drunk or drink when they're in middle school. I wasn't one of them. But the point being is that I was 100% sober. I grabbed this kid who I'd known for a while. No, this was high school. It wasn't middle school. But, yeah, it was high school. But, I mean, still sober. And I'd known this kid for a long time. We were really good friends. He just lost his cool for a second. When he punched me in the chest, all I saw was white. Or red, depending on what lingo you want to go with. And I pinned him. It was in the locker room. I pinned him against the lockers, such that he could not move his arms. And I put my knee right between his legs so that if he moved, I could just knee him right in the balls as hard as I possibly could. And I basically had like a fucking tiger death grip on this kid's neck. And I was squeezing as hard as I could. And this kid was dying. I'm not joking. He was dying. He was turning the darkest shade of purple, borderline red. He was on his way out before I snapped out of it, realized what I was doing, and I just backed off. That was me sober. And I already have an anger issue. If you've seen some of my videos, I should put up some more of my actual like live gameplay of me playing like Battlefield or whatever. I have a slight anger problem sometimes, so I try to not take it out on people like I used to. That was the wake up time for me when I was choking that kid basically to death. If I'm like that sober, I don't even want to fucking imagine what I'm like drunk. Factor in what my dad was when he was drunk. I'd rather just keep the beast caged, never find out. I could be the silliest, happiest, go-luckiest motherfucker ever when I'm sloshed off my ass. Very possible. But it's a risk I am not willing to take. That's why I don't drink. It's because if I could do that while I'm sober, there's just no. I'm not risking it. There's literally no chance in hell I'm taking that risk. None. And I'm just saying, like, that's just my reason why I don't drink. Because I don't want to find out what kind of drunk I am. And if it being the worst type of drunk, I don't want to do that to the people I care about most. I'd rather just never have a drink ever. Not even one. Not even to the point where I'm just tipsy, not drunk. Not even a single drink. Because if I'm like my dad and I have a single sip, that's it. Game over. But that's my reason. And I'm sticking to it. Again, not hating on you if you drink. I have friends that drink. Nothing. The waifu drinks. But that's it for this video. Later. Well, drop a like, subscribe, and later.